Hi everyone and welcome to episode 313 at Mike White's podcast. I'm Jack, as always joined by KC.
Hello.
How's things, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Apologies for the long gap between podcasts. Just work. It's been one of those runs where you want to throw things through your screen on a daily basis. And not just because you've dropped points away at QPR, which we will briefly mention.
Yeah. So that was a work day for me. So fortunately, was watching
Same.
that.
I was working while I was watching it as well.
That was a watching in silence, celebrating, thinking, thank God we're actually going to get something from this.
Yeah. For a second, I actually thought that the game was so stressful that it made me ill. And then I was ill for like 4 days, so I don't think it was the game. I think something else just happened to kick in at about midday that day.
I don't know. The marking at that corner.
Yeah. That's the thing that's so annoying about it, isn't it? As always, self-inflicted injuries. 0 defending on that second goal. No one goes to the thrower with 2v1. No pressure on the cross. No one marking Steve Cook. And on the first goal, Brendan Aronson reads the play excellently, gets into a perfect position to intercept and lays it off perfectly for Saito to score. But, I mean, it's one of them. 2-2 is not a good result. It's a good result once you're 2-0 down.
Yeah, I think, especially after the Portsmouth game, it was good to see them come back and get something from it. Like it's still not a great result, given what was it for? Is it 4 straight defeats before that for QPR?
I know they weren't in great form. I remember.
Yeah, they're not a good team. I'm still of that opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the whole talk is now just please just win all the home games.
Yeah, just win your games. I suppose probably the main talking point from that game was Aronson had a really bad first half, got subbed for Willie Nonto to play 10, who stood out massively and was very involved. Let's hope he doesn't get injured on during the international break, eh?
Ooh.
We'll come on to that later. So yeah, bit disappointing, but 8 games to go, top on goal difference and 2 points clear with Burnley. It's basically a straight shootout. So news-wise, there's one major bit of news, which is that the season ticket renewals are out, and it looks to be about a 14% rise in price for most people. I mean, look, one, it's always going to happen because that's just where football is now. But I do look at it and go, right, let's say it's an average across all the different bands of how much season tickets cost, because someone posted their West Stand one that wasn't in the Bremner suite and it was like 850 quid, something. So let's say the average price rise is 100 quid. Because there's some that are in the 400s that'll be less than that and so on. And there's 23,000 season ticket holders?
Hmm.
So that's, £2.3 million. And I know that this sounds stupid, but it's sort of not even just depending on what league we're in. Obviously, in the Premier League, that's statistically nothing. It's so little money. In the Championship, it makes a bit more difference, but it just doesn't sit right with me ever. I just think that it's getting, when the cheap season tickets are going to be 27 quid a game. Which by the way, that I think is still pretty reasonable. But then you see the ones in the West Stand and the season tickets, so like the discounted version is going to be 45 quid a game. That's insane to me.
Yeah, it's there is part of me thinking it's getting more and more hollow when you look up at the T-shirt that you can see in the stand that says "Football is for the fans."
Yeah,
You're like, I can't afford that T-shirt.
Yeah, but look, anyone who comes at it from the business point of view, there's 22,000 people on the season ticket waiting list. It would from a business perspective, you should raise the prices, but I don't give a fuck. That's not that's not what this should be about.
I mean, the very pessimistic part of me feels like there should be a non-promotion clause.
Yeah, well,
because
that was
I
the
also
one,
think,
wasn't it? What was it?
Yeah.
Was that if we missed the playoffs?
Was that the Gary Monk one?
Yeah, if we miss the playoffs, you get it. What was it? They all go up 10%, but you get it back if we don't get in the playoffs or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I should remember. I had a season ticket at this point, but I don't really remember.
Yeah, because I think the thing that starts to smack as a fan is you all have to sort of bite into the lemon somewhat of, we need to do this to be competitive. And you're like, sure. Because they all do. Grand. But at some point, you do have to get promoted if we're going after, if we're spending decent money on players and things like that, which I'm sure all of us are for having a very competitive squad. But you better not shoot and miss. Like, let's come on. Right.
And I'm just using him as an example because of the costs sort of line up well. That 2.3 million, it's 1/10 of Brendan Aronson, is that? Like, it's not. The reason that Leeds need money is not because the tickets are cheap. It's because they bought £200 million worth of players that weren't good transfers.
Because of Jean-Kevin Augustin.
Yeah, it's because. Yeah. Well, no, actually, no, I'm not blaming him.
No, I'm not blaming him. It's because of Victor Orta. But it's because of Victor Orta and the deal that was struck to sign Jean-Kevin Augustin. It's no one's going to be happy about this news. There are some that are going to be affected by it, clearly more than others in terms of those price rises. But as you said, unfortunately, the position is it's much like the music economy at the moment. I completely disagree with the idea of flexible pricing and charging ridiculous amounts to go to gigs. But if people are willing to pay £200 to go see Five, the bastards that have taken it away from me, and I'm okay with this, then you will just continue to charge it. If you're idiotic enough to spend 350 quid to go see Oasis, grand, more power to you, but you're ruining it for the rest of us.
Right.
What I'm saying is, rise up.
Listen, what did we pay each to go see Oasis in about 2008?
It was 100. I think it was about 100 quid.
Yeah.
That's by the part. We also saw them before they broke up. That was an investment, my friend.
It is a good job we went, actually, because they did break up really not long after.
Yeah.
But we didn't have jobs and stuff then.
Yeah. That was... Financially, it was not a good decision. Everything else, it absolutely was.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of Leeds stuff, actually. That's like Robbie Fowler. Right,
that sounds like selling players to third parties.
Maybe one day that third party will be Ticketmaster, and then I can just hate them for everything. It's shit that the prices have gone up, but it's going to happen, and all the season tickets are going to sell out to almost the same people. Because as much as we will, and I mean, I'm going to be as much of a hypocrite as anyone with this. I'm going to talk about how fucking ridiculous it is, and then I'm going to renew my season ticket. But
it's too costly not to at this point.
Yeah, that is the issue. You can't vote with your feet in the same way you used to be able to when there's such a big waiting list.
It was so much easier when they closed the East Stand Upper. It was really easy to vote with your feet then, because you knew there was always going to be room.
Yeah, you could always come back. If you want, I'm not giving Ken Bates any of my fucking money. and then when he leaves, you can just get a ticket again.
I don't know if you saw. So I was just reading a few comments about because there's also been the football fan survey has come out as well. And one of the key figures I think I saw from that was that only 5% of those said that they would be likely to go to more games next season. And and obviously that you don't know the makeup of this. You don't know whether it's season ticket holders, whether it's day trippers, what it is. But if only 5% of that number are saying they think they will go to more games next year, bearing in mind we have hit a point now where the next big Premier League deal is pretty much the same as the previous one. Sponsorship deals are getting to sort of similar, sort of steadying out. And there's only so many Americans.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we've got some.
Yeah, but it's gonna be weird. Well, I suppose if it does stagnate, that'll be when the Premier League launches its own streaming service and charges £25 a month, and everyone will go. That will rightly say that's actually pretty damn reasonable, and everyone will buy it.
I mean, because I think that was the other part of it was if you want to combat piracy, which none of us condone, we do not condone piracy. I want that on the record. But
I have never watched a Leeds away game at Saturday 3:00 live ever, unless I was there ever. I swear, ish.
But I tell you how you get rid of it is by offering loads more football at a much more competitive rate.
Yep.
But what I was going to come to was when we were talking about it being a lot easier to protest things like this. Sheffield Wednesday had to do season ticket renewals in January, and that very much smacked me as a Ken Bates move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chancery is an insane person. But yeah, we'll see what it is. Hopefully, it's for Premier League football. It will make it even though there's 4 fewer games, it does make it a bit easier to justify when it's in the Premier League than in the Championship.
It'd be so much nicer when teams aren't coming to Ellen Road to sit back and soak up the pressure. Instead, they're turning up to absolutely batter us.
Yeah. It's good. Wow. He's good, isn't he?
Look at Kevin De Bruyne go. Woo, 37. He's still good.
Maybe we'll get a result like we did today with a 2-2 draw against Man United under 21s. I really did actually want to watch this, but work was too busy, so I couldn't. But 2-2, we were 2-0 up at half-time, goals from Cresswell and Gray, which feels like a throwback. But yeah, Alfie Cresswell and Harry Gray. Alfie Cresswell's goals are belter.
It's a lovely finishing off the bar.
Yeah, and Harry Gray's just a good bit of movement, gets in at the near post. But it's a good result, that, because Man United's 21s have been pretty good this year. It's their 18s that have been ridiculous. I think they've just battered everyone. But you would have expected us to get beat in that, given the relative strength of the sides, and to get a 2-2 draw is pretty good going. Farker did mention Harry Gray with regards to first-team football, but I'd be very surprised if he did out like that, given how late it is in the season. And on the subject of the 21s, actually, did you see Morton Spencer has had to retire at 21 years old?
Did see that cardiac issues by the sounds of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. It was he was an England youth international really young, like 15s or 16s, but he played youth football for Norway as well. When we got him from Sunderland, he was really quite highly rated. He went straight into our 18s and did all right. I saw him a bit for the 21s, and he looked pretty good. I'm not going to pretend that I thought he didn't stand out in the way that I thought, oh, that's the next one he's going to kick on through. But he always looked pretty good. He went to Derby after us, but I mean, it's just always a shame when a young lad has to retire from football like that. Hopefully, he can find something that makes him happy, whether it's in the game or elsewhere. You would hope that Leeds, Derby, Sunderland, as he's been there, that if he wants to try and get involved in coaching some kids or something like that, that they'd all say, well, come along, we'll get you started.
Yeah, he can be the next Gavin Rothery.
Is that what Gavin Rotherley's doing?
It's what he did for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know what he does now.
He should go be a physio like Henry McStay because that seems to be underrepresented.
Yeah. Scott Gardner as well. He's another one. I don't know if he's still our under-18s manager. Luxembourg's own.
Yeah, Luxembourg's own Scott Gardner. Because he's the 21s coach now, isn't he?
Oh, did he get promoted? I could
when Scoobs left.
Scoobs.
I haven't thought about Scoobs in a while.
We'll always have Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Tell you what, this has been a twisting, turning podcast as this one.
Yeah, it's almost as if we've literally gone, I finished work a minute before we started and then go and have nothing written down. But speaking of that draw with Scoobs at Old Trafford, Willie Nonto scored in the first minute and he got injured on international duty. Which was very annoying, but Farker said it's not as bad as it looked and that he might even be in the squad for tomorrow. Given...
He's definitely not starting then.
No, he's definitely not. Well, there was a bit... Apparently he said something along the lines of, we have to be careful throwing him in because it's been a while since he started a game. And everyone was like, well, whose fault's that, Daniel? But yeah,
it has.
I definitely don't think he'll start. It wouldn't shock me if he isn't in the squad for this one and they give him that extra week. Because as much as I think he should play if he's fit, we have got other options for those roles. So I think he might give him a week.
It's Brendan Aronson's place safe for another week or so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, his let's be honest, his place is probably safe until the end of the season. But
I mean, he's well rested because he didn't go away with the States, did he? While they had their national embarrassment.
I mean,
not the guy in the White House. They lost to Panama and Canada.
Losing to Canada used to be so much more hurtful.
Yeah, Canada have got quite good, haven't they?
Yeah. She's got a dickhead of a manager.
I'm glad. I'm not going to slag him Marsh the person. I'll slag off Marsh the football coach. As a person, nah.
All right. They've not got a dickhead of a manager. They've got a dickhead manager.
Yeah.
who got himself sent off in that game.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? I didn't actually see that. I just read about that.
Yeah.
But hell of an ex-Leeds thing, losing to Jesse Marsh's Canada and Thomas Christensen's Panama.
Yeah. It's a lovely, lovely circle. I mean, I'd like that with, obviously, Brendan Aronson had time to rest. Brendan Aronson went to America.
Oh, is that what he did?
He went home to Medford. You're like, why? No, Rhett, get off the plane. just lay down.
Yeah. The injury news from the press conference was pretty positive. Obviously, he said Nonto might be involved. Patrick Bamford is available. If that was any more than the bench, I think everyone would shit a kitten. Verber's back in training, but only just, so he probably won't be involved. But the most crucial one, Ethan Ampadu has been training for a week and will be in the squad. And if he's fit, I'd probably just put him back in.
I never checked it, but I did hear the talk that we have literally not won. Right, I've got to make sure I have this correct. We've not won an early kickoff that he hasn't featured in.
That sounds like it's probably right. I have not checked this stat. I did. Hoppo at work mentioned to me that Leeds at home in Saturday 3 o'clocks, we've won all of them and we haven't conceded yet. But it's only 6 games because we never play at Saturday 3 o'clock.
I'm going to say, wasn't Burnley a Saturday 3 o'clock?
It was Saturday, but I think it was the early kickoff.
Oh.
I am not certain of that. Because I would have thought that would have been on telly.
But yeah, I do feel having Ampadu back in the team is something we desperately need at this point. It's one of those things where, in as much as individually, I look at the players that we are picking when he's not there, and I am happy with all of them. But we are a better team when he is on the pitch.
Massively. And him being back will really help the confidence levels, I think. If he's back in, that drops a midfielder to the bench. If Bamford's fit, he might make the bench. Isaac Schmidt got his first 2 caps for Switzerland and may well not be on the bench.
I'd love to know what was seen in his FA Cup game against Millwall to merit. Right, that's it. You're an Austrian international now.
Austrian?
Is he Austrian?
He's Swiss.
He's Swiss. It's all the same, isn't it?
Yeah, they're both roughly that bit of Europe.
They're both famous for their neutrality.
Yeah. They both speak German. Well, with one of the countries to an extent.
Yeah.
Some of it speaks German.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be an odd one. Swansea has lately, of the last couple of years, probably been like up there for our easiest opponent. Because Luke Williams tries to play what is, I suppose, quote unquote, the Swansea way. Because they like a manager that gets the ball down and tries to pass the ball around a lot and press. But Luke Williams always just came onto us, went high and left 50 yards of space in behind. And we looked for it. Unfortunately, he's been sacked.
Look who's back.
It's Shizdog.
I'm just learning this. Alan Sheehan's back. Oh.
Yeah. They had won 10 under Williams before we got sacked. Sheehan has had 5 games. He's beat Blackburn 3-0, 0-0 at Preston, 1-0 win against Middlesbrough, then lost 1-0 at Watford and lost 2-0 at home to Burnley.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's got it till the end of the season now.
Yeah. I mean, they are 16th. That is a very mid-table set of results.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know they had improved since. I will always go back to last season's Swansea of we're defending on the halfway line. See if you can beat that. Okay. They can. Even Joe Peru is running through.
Yeah, what was that? We won 4-0 and it really could have been 7 or 8 quite comfortably.
Oh no, they played a slightly lofted through ball. We've been done.
It was we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. But yeah, from a quick glance at the games under Sheehan, 4-2-3-1 every game. So it doesn't look like they'll be tactically massively interesting. But it does appear that they're a bit less aggressive in the press and a bit more pragmatic. So it probably won't be as easy a game as the previous times we've played them. I know it's weird to say because the last time we won it 4-3 in the last minute, but it shouldn't have ever got to that. Like, we still had loads of chances and it was still the same sorts of goals. The main change from then is... wow, that says a lot. His name disappeared then. Matt Grimes has gone to Coventry, but they have Lewis O'Brien now in midfield, who was a pretty good player. Josh Tyman's pretty decent at left back. He's always been able to put a decent ball in, and their third goal was from a really good cross from him, wasn't it, at their place? Ben Cabango's a decent centre back. Their best option alongside him is probably Harry Darling, but I think he's been injured. So they've got Hannes Delcroix, who I don't know anything about. They did use Kyle Norton in one game, who must be 50, and he's probably younger than me. Now I've said that because that's what keeps happening.
36. No, you're good. You're safe on this one.
Yay! Well, the one that got me with that the other day was Victor Wanyama signing for Dunfermline Athletic. And everyone being, God, he must be so old. And he's like 2 years younger than me. He's 33. But yeah, so Cabango's decent, but the other centre backs around him, I've no idea. Is it Josh Key, the right back? Yeah, he's meant to be all right, but I don't know much about him. Liam Cullen at 10 is pretty decent. And I don't particularly rate either of their strikers, being Keeney or Vipotnik. If they're going to do something out of nowhere, it'd probably be that Ronald, who usually plays on the right wing. He's got a bit of pace about him and a bit of trickery.
Yeah, although I'm just looking 38 games, 1 goal, 6 assists.
Yeah. Oh, he's certainly no world beater. He's just their most sort of out of
He's just a Brazilian in the Championship.
Yeah, basically. It says that he dribbles a lot and he gets fouled a lot, which kind of makes sense. And it doesn't matter even if they're no good at them. Set pieces always scare me. It doesn't matter even though we've been better at defending them recently. So I don't see anything looking through their team to be particularly fearful
of. Yeah, it's not. There's not a lot, but I'm massively fearful of. Is Vipotnik? Is he tall? He looks like he might be tall. That's all I've got. He's
This sounds weird. But you'll get this from like signing an FM regen and stuff. Vipotnik, he sounds tall.
Well, I mean,
and he's like,
bring me Dr. Robotnik. We haven't got the licensing. Well, bring me his Slovenian equivalent.
Yeah, 186 centimeters. So yeah, he's quite tall.
Yeah, that is a reasonable amount of height from one tall person to another.
I'll have to show you my big fucking Serbian that I've got for Leeds on Football Manager. He's like 6'8".
I mean, that sentence could have gone in a much worse direction, but I, in previous times I haven't warned you about that, so that's completely fair. Yeah, like you said, the if there was ever any level of needle going into this, it was Matt Grimes is a dickhead, isn't he? And now he's gone.
And let's be honest, it was more Matt Grimes' mum is a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah. So now
that mantle has gone to Jack Harrison now.
Yeah. I'll just never amount to Matt Smith's mum. That's the standard of mum we want in football.
Hey, Michael Normanton will be fighting you over that. I think he'll find it's Joffrey's mum.
I'll fight to the death for Matt Smith's mum. What a wonderful woman. Yeah. Again, I know we've kind of got our Swansea core in the team.
Who do have excellent record. I mean, obviously, Joe Rodon's never going to score against anyone ever, except for that one time that he did. But like Dan James and Joe Perreault have got a great record against Swansea.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. But yeah, I don't see them pulling up any trees. Whether because of what we are now, 8 games left.
8 games
remaining. I was going to say they're probably safe in 16th, but
they're slightly closer than I thought they were.
It's 6 points, but there's enough. There's also a lot of teams between them.
Yeah.
So whether there is any value in looking at a game like this in Sheehan's position and thinking, why not have a go? Or why not do something a bit different? He could do.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is, if he was going to try something like a change of formation or anything like that, this would be the game to do it because he's had 2 weeks of prep instead of 1. I know they'll have gone. He won't have had him for 4 or 5 days. They'll have given him a break and stuff, but you get a bit more time to work on stuff during the international break. And just from a glance at their team, I don't think that they will have had loads of people away.
Yeah.
I mean, Lawrence Vigouroux in goals, one of them weird ones because he can be an absolute world beater or absolutely awful. So you've no way not. He's a bit. Can you remember Bryce Samba that was at Forest?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a bit like that. He'd have absolute worldy games, but then also make errors, and he's a bit like that. So you're hoping not to catch him on a good day. More interesting is the Leeds team. with the before the Nonto injury, I was certain he was going to do it and Nonto was going to start at 10. But because of the injury, I don't think he will.
He's got his excuse now. I imagine there's the really harsh part of me is just there thinking he's watching Willie Alter going, he's playing too well here. I might have to drop Brendan. And then just about a week later, he gets a phone call. Ankle injury. Oh, thank God. Oh, it just picks itself. Brendan, you're back in.
Yeah.
So
I think it is going to be sort of the Farker team, basically. Meslier, Bogle, Roden, Strauch, Firpo, Rothwell and Tanaka, James, Allenson, Solomon, Peru. And I think he'll wait a week for Nonto and Ampadu. I think he'll give them a week and they'll probably start next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, as well, when you look through the games, and I don't want to turn this into the average position of the teams we're playing, but there are 2 teams out of the 8 that you are probably more concerned with us playing, and
I'm massively concerned about Luton away. I have the same awful feeling that I had with like Portsmouth.
Tight stadium, playing shit.
Team you should absolutely beat.
But yeah, obviously you've kind of got Bristol City and Middlesbrough in terms of league positioning. Are you 2 in terms of actual quality? And yes, that is a derisive term for the rest of the teams we are playing after those 2, because most of them are absolute dross. And I have just cursed promotion in one sentence there.
Leeds are more than capable of doing that themselves, mate. You don't need to worry about that.
But yeah, like, you know, you're looking after tomorrow, week's break to Luton. And then you've got 2 games in 4 days after that. I would say, yeah, there is no point risking Nonto and Ampadu in this game when you're about to get to another period of the season where you're going to have a few games quite close together. Yeah, like you say, pick the Farker team.
Yeah,
it's right there.
And then hopefully they're both on the bench, because that'll be a good sign.
And Pat.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't know how we're going to fit them all on, but
I mean,
Isaac Smith will drop out.
Yeah, I suppose I'm just trying to think what the bench was last time out.
Was Chambers on the bench again last time?
No, but you would think, like, of the bench last time, who can... Like, Giavogi, you'd think would be the one that goes for Ampadu. Yeah, so Nonto was on the bench last time, so that'll just stay the same. So Schmidt probably... De Bayo was on the bench, so he probably stays until Verber's fit.
Or De Bayo for Bamford.
But you could just do De Bayo for Bamford, because if Ampadu is on the bench, you've got that centre-back option there.
Yeah, you've got that. You've got Byram.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's probably... And, you know, but there's always Schmidt, because it will be Schmidt. There's only 2 of these, so we won't go into any detail, but in a few hours... Have I ever told you about how much I like Frank Lampard? And what a big fan I am of this.
And Matt Grimes.
Yeah. You would almost... Like, I would say Matt Grimes is the heir to Frank Lampard's throne as, like, one of the great English midfielders.
Yeah, and smashing bunch of lads.
Yeah, they're brilliant, and if they could beat Sheffield United, that'd be awful nice.
It's
if that was at Coventry, I'd actually fancy him.
Yeah,
but because it's just big, but with it being at Bramall Lane, I'm not as confident. And then Burnley have got Bristol City at home tomorrow, and I'd be very surprised if Burnley don't win that.
Yeah, just glance at the fixtures for next week, and good luck to Coventry next weekend as they are at home to Burnley.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
Frank
it would be
Lampard,
it would be fantastic if Coventry could pick up 6 points here.
It would.
I'd be delighted for them.
Yeah, I mean, if they are like the form team in the league, aren't they? Basically.
Yeah. They could win both of those. They're not catching Sunderland anytime soon. There's a 10-point gap there. Although actually, I say that Sunderland have been playing quite poorly.
And the good thing is, when we inevitably drop into third, we'll play sixth, so we don't have to worry about Frank Lampard's Coventry until Wembley, which can only go well. But yeah. And beyond
I'd pay good money to not go to Wembley.
Except you.
I was going to say, I assume that's what the increase in the season ticket price is. That's my offering to the football gods to not go to Wembley.
Right. I have not had a prediction off Benny yet. He'll be at work for a couple more hours, so I'll get his early. But both Alex and Connie have gone for 3-0 wins. I've actually jumped into second place because I had 2-2 at QPR.
Look at you.
Yeah, I didn't want those points. Although at 2-0 down again, I would have taken it.
Yeah. I'm going to say 2-0.
I assume win.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Nervy 2-1 win. I'm going to go for a game that shouldn't be nervy. We'll go 2-0 up. It's going to be the Watford game basically. 2-0 up, cruising, and then we'll concede something stupid and then be shitting ourselves for the end of the game.
Does one of us? I was going to say, yeah. I was going to say, yeah. If we'd have gone for different styles of win, is the bonus points for that. If I say like comfortable 2-0, is there like a +1 bonus?
Yeah, unfortunately not. But so long as we win, that's what we need. What we need is a +3 bonus of us winning. That will do us then for episode 313. We'll be back one of the days next week. I don't know which. Depends on work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it is very much just win. Just keep winning. Win your home games. Don't lose your away games. Preferably win them too. Because I just keep looking at 80 points from 38 games and thinking, how the fuck are we only 2 points clear? Like that's
whereas I keep picturing 97 points at the end of this and going, how are we third? How?
Yeah, it'll be.
This is madness.
If that happens,
where's Luton?
Yeah, that is one where we have to start actually thinking that we are cursed and that it is like in some way real. But yeah, hopefully Coventry can do us a favour tonight. That would really help. So